This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hello, so as you can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be a home tour. And I know you probably already have a decent idea of the house and what it looks like, but I haven't really given a proper tour of the entire home and the layout and the rooms and its quirks and stuff. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I'm also gonna share some ideas that I have for the house. I'm gonna do a future video where I go through all of my ideas with mood boards and color palettes and visualizations and stuff, but I wanted to share some thoughts that I have, but then also I am looking for your opinions on any ideas or thoughts that you have as we go through the home tour, because I think a lot of the times when I enter a new space, I have like one idea of how I think it should look, and then I stick to it. That makes it so I'm not very open-minded when it comes to the design. So any ideas that you have, let me know. Also, update on the pipe situation and the hole in the floor. So we still don't have laundry working because there's still a hole in the floor and we're still speaking with insurance. It's this whole thing. It's taking a lot longer than I expected, and I honestly don't know when that's going to be done. Also, throughout this video, you may see that there are still boxes out and things aren't organized very well or set up. And that's because we may have to move out temporarily because the burst pipe did a lot of damage to the floor and then to some of the walls. So we're going to need to rip out the floor and get into some of the walls, and that creates a non-livable housing situation. So yeah, we may have to move out even though we just moved in recently, but yeah, we might have to like pack up all of our stuff and then move out again and then move back in. Fun stuff, right? But yeah, this is just part of owning a home, I suppose. Okay, so I'm just gonna take you through the home. We're gonna walk through, share some ideas, and let me know your ideas in the comments. Okay, let's get started. This is the front door, and there's not much of an entryway, as you can see. You walk in and then you're immediately in the living room. So that is one thing about this house, is that the layout feels a little bit odd. I'll talk more about it later, but we are pretty sure that these used to be closed off rooms because this is some type of like structural framing. I'm assuming that there used to be a wall here that they removed to open it up. And then you can see right here too, above me, separating the kitchen and the living room, there's also a structural framing. And then we thought a little bit about maybe separating the rooms again, like closing them off, but the rooms are so small that I think it'll just feel really cramped. So we need to think of other ways to create separation of space. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, which we'll also talk about. So there's not much going on in the entryway except for this little entrance. So this is the entrance to the attic. There isn't really anything up there. It's just like insulation and HVAC and some electrical. But I do want to make the opening to it a little bit, I don't know, less visible. There's some things that I saw online to make it look a bit more flush, because right now it's just like a little white painted wood thing with trim around it. So yeah, I'd like to make that look a little bit nicer. So from the front door, this is your view. Here's the living room right here. And then there's the kitchen over there. And then the dining room is over here. And I'm still not fully sure which room I want to make the dining room and the living room, because the dining room is very small. Like this room is quite small, and if we put a couch in here and then other furniture, it's gonna feel very cramped. So this is a lot more den-like, and I really want to do like a banquette seating and then some type of like built-ins wrapping around to make it feel very like cozy. But it is a little bit weird that it is separate from the kitchen and then the living room is closer to the kitchen. So that is kind of strange, because I know that usually you want the dining room to be closer to the kitchen, right? I think I want like a more open space for a living room because that's where you're going to spend more time. But let's go over to the living room. Also, all the furniture that we have laid out right now is just like where we put it when we moved, and we haven't really changed it. Based on your suggestions in the comments, I think I want to do a video where I try out different furniture layouts and configurations. I think that would be fun. So we have this lounge chair here, and it's very difficult to put it anywhere else. I feel like it needs to be up against a wall or something because it has such a high back. I was thinking of maybe moving the couch this way, and so having the couch over here, and then we could do like a bookshelf situation framing the window on the sides. I think that could be kind of cool. I just realized that the layout that we have right now is exactly how it was at the apartment, but I'm open to changing it. I would like to have a coffee table, but this chair makes it difficult to have a coffee table because the footrest comes out so far. So we may end up moving the chair. We have the couch here just to create some type of separation from the kitchen. Just all feels like very connected, and I want it to feel a bit separate, so that's why the couch is like this. In the living room, dining room, and kitchen, we have very standard blinds, and I'm not a very big fan of them. They're very practical, but they don't offer anything aesthetically. And they're also kind of dangerous because I know that the cords can choke like children and small pets, so you don't really want that. Like, I don't want a safety hazard in my house. I'm either thinking of changing them out to Roman shades or some type of like wood blind or like bamboo roller blind. Those are a lot cheaper than Roman shades. Roman shades are really expensive, but I do think it would make a very big impact. The first things I have on the list of things to do to the house are new window treatments and to paint. I've kind of gotten used to the gray, honestly, but I think that this space will look so nice once we paint over the gray. We're thinking of just like a nice warm white for this space. Since it's all open, I think it's very difficult to paint like more saturated, interesting colors in an open space because you have to think about how it ties in with the kitchen and then the dining room and the living room. Like it's just a lot to connect. So we're probably gonna do like a nice white for this open space, but then do more fun colors in the individual rooms because we have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms that we can work with. So we're probably gonna keep more saturated paint colors for those rooms, or maybe not saturated, but just more colorful paint options. In the living room, a major renovation that we're thinking of doing is adding skylights, because I have a potential partnership with this brand called Velux, and they're like one of the best skylight brands out there. And I love skylights. They're great for plants. It brings in so much light. And I know that people worry about skylights leaking, but from what I've read online and from what I've learned by speaking with an architect is that skylights aren't really an issue if you're able to get them installed correctly and you have high quality ones. I've also like always wanted to have skylights because I think they're great for plants, and I think they just make rooms look so beautiful. We are thinking, or we're probably going to add a skylight here in the living room, and then probably also in the kitchen. We have to just figure out what's feasible. And then another thing that I think would look really amazing, but it's probably very, very expensive. I'm speaking with an architect about it to kind of, get a ballpark of how much that would cost and if it's doable, but that is to vault the ceiling. It would be really cool to do like a partial vault where it's just vaulted in the living room. That way it can create that separation of space like I was talking about in the living room, the dining room, and the kitchen, because by having the ceiling be elevated in the living room with the skylight, I think will just make it feel very like open and airy. And then you go into the dining room and then it feels like a little enclosed den with like a banquette, and it's like wrapped in built-ins. I think that would be really cool. But obviously it all depends on how much that stuff costs. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna go ahead with the skylights. Something that I feel really limited in this house is that there aren't that many places to put houseplants. The only good places are in the living room, but since it's kind of smaller, it's difficult to find a good place for them design-wise. So I think like if we have skylights, then that really opens up the possibilities of putting plants anywhere. Really quickly about the dining room. Yeah, like I said, I would really love to have booth seating or banquette seating and then do built-ins. And then this dining set, I really like it, but I think it's more suited for a round or oval shaped dining table just because of the size of it. And also if you have banquette seating, you probably don't want to do a rectangular table. This is the kitchen, and the kitchen is a bit of a trouble area for us right now because this area over here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's tape right here because this is where some of the damage happened from the burst pipe. So like the floor is ruined and the subfloor is ruined. So underneath the cabinets too, there's damage. So we may need to rip out the cabinets. We don't know yet because it's still going through insurance and everything. But yeah, so the kitchen is a bit of up in the air kind of thing at the moment. I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but the floor is soft here and some of it's kind of like peeling up. So we're gonna need to replace the floor. Our original plan was pretty budget friendly. We didn't want to do anything major. We just wanted to change out the cabinet faces and then paint the cabinets too, just to give it like a mini facelift rather than doing a whole structural change. But because of the burst pipe, that kind of changes things. But yeah, we just wanted to do new cabinet faces, paint it, and then different hardware. I'll show you some images of what we were thinking originally. And then I had a friend who did this transformation just like with the cabinet faces, and it looked so good. And then maybe like extend these upper cabinets all the way to the ceiling. But I was also wondering if maybe, I don't know if I love upper cabinets, but I know that it's like good storage. So I was like, maybe we can change it to open shelving because we already have a lot of cabinets, because this counter space is really long. Okay, so I was thinking it could be nice to have like some open shelving here in place of the upper cabinets to display some ceramics and stuff, because I like to collect ceramics. I don't have any ceramics at the moment really to display, but that would be something that I would like to do. We'd also like to explore the possibility of adding a skylight here, so then if I have plants on the shelves, then I can grow plants here, and I think that would be really pretty. If we do have to rip out the cabinets in the kitchen, everything has to be exactly as it was prior to the damage, because that's like how insurance works and how it covers things. So we wouldn't change anything about the layout and the structure of the kitchen. But something that we would maybe do if we do have to rip everything out, this would come out of our own pocket because it's not like matching the current layout. So the kitchen counter is extremely long, and it's kind of awkward, I think, because this is where the main kitchen stuff happens. You know, you got the sink, you got the fridge, and you got the gas range. So I was thinking, if we do have to, since we're ripping out all the floors and if we have to remove the cabinets, it might be nice to create like a little peninsula here to help close off the kitchen from the living room. Make it so this doesn't feel as long for no reason, you know? I think that would be a nice change. This is our new gas range, our stove oven. I really like it. I think it looks a lot better than the other one. Something else I was thinking of was maybe, I think I want to remove this cabinet, right? So if we keep the upper cabinets, I'd want to remove this cabinet. Or if we change it to open shelving, I would just have the shelf go across this wall and not extend onto this wall, because I feel like the proportions here are kind of strange because of this backsplash that extends farther to the left than it does to the right in relation to the range hood. Like the proportions are just off. So yeah, I think it would be nice to like remove this cabinet here and then also make it so the backsplash is uniform. And then this is where the pipe burst. You can see the plastic separating the room. This is the laundry room. Yeah, it looks like a containment zone. Throughout the house, there are a lot of HVAC vents in the ceiling, and that's good. I think it helps with efficiency and stuff, but these ones are not the most attractive. So I do want to change these out for ones that look a little bit better. I have found some online that look really nice. They just end up blending in a lot better with the ceiling and just look cleaner and like less of a visual distraction. And then also I want to change out the light switches to be more interesting and be a bit nicer rather than just plastic. So I think things like changing out the light switches, changing out the HVAC vents, I think those will make a big impact. Like small things, they'll make a big impact. And then here is the first room. So this room is just off the side of the kitchen, and it's like close to the living room, and there's a dining room over here. We originally wanted to have this as the office because it feels more connected to the rest of the living space. And when Chris and I work or are on our computer, we like to be connected to each other, or like feel like, I don't know, does this make sense? That we are not like secluded in a little corner in a cave. I like to have some type of outward stimulus going on, or like feel like I'm connected to everything else when I'm on my computer. And a lot of people were saying to make this the guest bedroom because this offers more privacy for guests, because the other room is like connected to the bedroom, which you'll see. And I'm still not sure what we want to do, but we have this set up as the office right now, but we're not really using it at the moment because yeah, we haven't really set stuff up because we may have to move out for a little bit. And then I have some plants in here that are just here until we find a more suitable permanent place for them once we figure out the layout and everything. But this is where our desk is. And then also another reason why we have the office set up here is that I don't know if the other room can really fit our desk because it is like this L shape. So we need a corner to push it up against, but because of the layout of the other room, that makes it so it's difficult to put this desk there. I'm going to take you off the tripod for a bit just so it's easier to maneuver you around. There's a window there. There's the neighbor's fence there, but it actually works pretty well because this is a north facing window. So it bounces off the light from this fence into this room, which makes it a lot brighter than it would be otherwise, I think. Then Winnie's litter box is there because that is kind of the only place that we can put it at the moment. We want to move it into the laundry room. And then over here is just a closet. So just a very like standard closet, which is nice because we don't have that much storage. Also, Chris is home. Well, hello.
Hi guys.
So I'm going to show you some of the thoughts that I have for this room, some examples. Shelving that goes across this wall and then also across this wall. And then for these doors, I think it would be really cool to do something more like this. Maybe do like two-toned sliding doors, just very simple but have cool colors. And then also probably paint this room something fun. I do want to have more fun with painting and choosing colors for rooms because in the past I've always been like relatively safe. So I think that would be really fun. And then this little ceiling fan 100% needs to be changed out because why is it so small? I mean, I guess it's a small room, but it just looks so silly. And this is the little hallway that leads to the primary bedroom, and then there's a bathroom over here. And there's also another entrance to the attic here that looks not that great. So like I said, I would like to do something to make it more flush or make it just look a little bit more hidden. But let's go into the bathroom. It's also it's quite tight, so I'll do my best to get an angle for you. So here's the bathroom. It is quite standard. This room is also kind of like the kitchen. We weren't planning to do anything major with it because everything worked. It was functional. So we were just gonna like probably paint the walls and then maybe paint the vanity. With the moisture meter, like the moisture readings in the bathroom, like near the toilet and the wall and the floor, they were all really high. So depending on like what happens with insurance, we may also need to take out the tile. That's why like this burst pipe thing just sucks because I can't really plan for anything yet because we're still waiting for insurance. And then yeah, but things could be a lot worse, right? Like they could be so much worse is what I keep reminding myself of. This is where the primary bedroom is. This room is kind of a mess. First, when you enter, there is a pretty big closet right here. So you can walk in. Wait, oh, let me reposition the camera. Walk-in closet. I think it's the biggest closet we've ever had. And yeah, it stores all of our stuff nicely. And we just did laundry yesterday. I think we've been to the laundromat 4 or 5 times since the pipe burst. And going to the laundromat is very expensive. I think we spend around $20, maybe like $16 every time we go. So that's kind of sucked lately, but we just did laundry, so that feels very nice. We have clothes to wear. Here's the bedroom. It's pretty big. We'll probably change out this fan. I don't really love the look of ceiling fans. I'd rather have just like a plug-in fan instead of one on the ceiling. These are the 2 doors that lead out to the backyard. And then we have a window here. And there's actually pretty decent light in here, even though this is our east-facing window, and that's a north one. There's a bit of wall texture, which is nice because there aren't any wall treatments throughout the rest of the house. Also, if you have thoughts about maybe doing some type of wall treatment to add texture, then I'm all ears. I also haven't had to do like wall treatments before. I also want a bed with a more substantial headboard. I've never had like a large headboard, and I feel like rooms that have substantial headboards are really nice. This one's very low. I mean, it looks good, but it doesn't have much presence in a room. And I think that, you know, the bed is like the focal point of a bedroom. And we'll probably end up painting this room. Don't know what color. I'm open to any suggestion. Likely not white because the majority of the house is already going to be white. So it would be nice to have a different color. Something I really want to change out eventually are the doors that lead out to the backyard. They're just kind of strange. I don't know if you can see because of the lighting. Let's see. Okay, now you can see. So they have built-in mini blinds inside of the door. Like, I've never seen this before and I'm not a fan. So yeah, I'm just like a silhouette. So yes, I do want to change those out with different doors eventually. And as of right now, this is where we have the TV and the black console. There isn't really a good spot for the black console in the living room or the dining room because of the height of it. So we have it in here in the bedroom for now, and then also our TV's on here because there isn't really a good spot for the TV in the living room. It's also too large to be in the living room, but honestly, it's kind of nice having a TV in your bedroom. I've never had a TV in my bedroom before, and I love falling asleep to television. It would be cool to have, I keep talking about built-ins, and I'm sure built-ins are probably really expensive, and I don't think we could do all of my ideas, but wouldn't it be cool to have a built-in TV cabinet here that can like close off, and then maybe we can put our books here and stuff. Something about this house is that we have no shelving. So like a lot of my plants and our books and stuff, they're in weird places or they're stored away because there's nowhere to put them up on a shelf. And you know, in our old house, we had so much shelving. And then in our apartment, we had a so decent amount of shelving. So yeah, we're really lacking in like shelving, which is why I'm so keen on creating some type of like built-in shelving in this house. And okay, let's turn this way. These are our storage things that have stuff that we haven't taken out yet because like I said, we may need to move. And I was thinking, because there's so much space over here that is just like unused, you know, when there isn't all the stuff here. Once again, we're talking about built-ins, but to add cabinets here, like a large floor to ceiling wardrobe that comes out a little bit and then goes across. There's like barely any built-in storage here for things like linens and towels. And this door leads to what we have set up as the guest bedroom for now, but really it's just a place for our workout equipment and then also like the fold out guest bed that we do have. This is probably my least favorite room in the house as of right now. Something I don't like about it is that there are just so many doors in this room. So there's this door that goes from the bedroom in, and then there's this little cabinet thing here, and then there's a door to exit there to the outside, and then there's another door here for the bathroom, and then there's an entrance here for the laundry. Over here, there's another entrance to get to the backyard. The layout of this room is just a bit awkward and there's so many entrances and doors. So I think when we start decorating this room, something I really want to make sure we do is to paint the doors and the walls all the same color. That way they blend together, because right now the wall is painted this blue that I'm not a big fan of, and then the doors are painted white. So you can just like, so every door just really stands out. This room has steps that lead down to it. So it's lower than all of the other rooms, which I think is kind of cool because it makes it feel a bit den-like. So look at these baseboards. Like, who did this and thought it was a good idea? So when we change out the flooring, we're going to change out the baseboards too and make sure that these don't look like this next time. So this is the second bathroom. You can't really see anything. I'm probably gonna need to take you off of the tripod. And we're kind of in a similar scenario as the kitchen and the other bathroom, because we weren't really planning to do much to it. I mean, it's not our style, obviously, but you know, it can function as a guest bathroom, and then we can focus on other things instead, like the living room and the dining room and the bedrooms. But because this room is like right next to the laundry room, there were also really high moisture readings like around the floor and the wall and stuff. So we may, need to get in there and change that stuff out depending on, what we hear back from our insurance. It's a very different style from the rest of the house. So I don't know if like the previous owners just didn't renovate it. I'm assuming this is older than the other bathroom that I showed you. What kind of style is this? Is it like Spanish style? This thing is actually kind of cool. Not my style, but I don't hate it. And then that's the sink. The sink isn't too bad either. So what I found kind of interesting is how they painted the outside of this door the same color as the bathroom. But like, wouldn't you think that you would leave this white and then this white? Just kind of silly. Hello, it's been a couple of hours and now we are outside. So this is the bedroom, the primary bedroom, and there's a door that opens out. And so we really want to make this area into a catio. Right now it's just like an enclosed area off the bedroom. But it would be nice if we could make it so, there's like fencing and then it's safe for Winnie and for Theo to come out here. I would like to remove this top part and then replace it with something like some type of transparent roofing material. That way we can get some light in, and then this can be like a place for my plants and then also a catio. So I have some of my plants out here because these had spider mites, and so I leave them out here to treat them. So they're just out here right now. These grapevines are growing like crazy. So there are some grapes that are growing near the side of the house, and we're gonna work on trimming that back this weekend. And then over here, this is the garage. The entrance is on the other side. Yeah, okay, let's pan this way. Also, Chris is recording for me. Yeah, we haven't done anything out here yet, so all the plants are just growing and we're watering them. We don't know where we're gonna put the ADU, or we don't know if like we want to do a garage ADU conversion or if we want to do like another structure out here somewhere. So depending on where the ADU goes, that will really affect the design and the plan of the garden. I also think that we could do like raised beds here, like raised beds where the concrete is. The sun is getting me. Oh, also this is my brachychiton. It's also outside, but look how much it's growing now. I was thinking in the meantime, with the concrete that's out here, we can put raised beds. So we can.
Your body just appeared in.
Let me move over here. But yeah, where the concrete is over here, we can put raised beds. So we want to build out some raised beds and just grow some veggies and herbs and stuff there, because like eventually I would want to remove all of the concrete because I feel like it's just so much wasted space, but that is kind of expensive to get a crew in and remove all of the concrete and get machinery in here. That's not like super high on the priority list for us, but we do want to get rid of that basketball hoop. We haven't made plans with like how we want to get rid of it yet, but yeah, it's like a legit like industrial grade basketball hoop. The garden is actually already pretty nice. There's a lot of natives that are planted here, and there's a cute little path. I'm not a huge fan of the wall that's along the perimeter of the garden. There's already like a lot of concrete throughout. I don't know why they didn't just do a horizontal fencing. It just looks so silly, chopped up like that. So definitely replace this with horizontal fencing. Originally, I was thinking of like painting this like a nice charcoal because it makes plants really pop against it. But then a lot of people were saying that if you paint it, you're just gonna have to keep repainting, and instead maybe we can just have vines growing on it, and it's very porous, so I think vines would attach pretty well. But yeah, let me know if you've ever painted like a concrete wall. Did that work out, or did it just become a really annoying maintenance thing? Because ideally I would want to paint it, but yeah, if it's too much work, then it's not worth it. I'm forgetting the names right now, but I know this is a native plant, and then this is a native plant, and then these aloes are not natives. This tree is not native. This is a native plant. I think this is California buckwheat. This is also a native plant. And then this is an elderberry flower bush tree. And got a California poppy over here. And this is a ton of coyote brush. And this is western sycamore. It's also a native to California. And then we got another native back here. Look at these flowers. And then, yeah, magnolia tree. Some citrus. And then this big pine tree. But the pine tree is the neighbor's tree. We're focusing on the actual house at first. And then we're going to tackle this. But then in the meantime, we're going to do stuff like the raised bed and then little plantings of native plants and stuff throughout. But we're not going to do like the full garden transformation until later, probably. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the house. Now let's go back inside. Hope that gave you a better understanding of like what's going on and where our heads are at with how we're planning to decorate. And I cannot wait to start decorating and painting. And I just feel like I'm ready to do it, but I feel like I can't because of the freaking hole in the floor, and because they're gonna have to like cut into the walls, so that even if we paint it now, we would just have to paint over it again, so it doesn't really make sense to do that. I just feel like everything's at a bit of a standstill, and I'm just so eager to get started, because I think just doing small things like repainting this room and then changing out the window treatments will just do so much for the house. And before we head out, I'd like to talk about Squarespace, who is the sponsor of this video. So I've been using Squarespace for about 5 years now, ever since I started on social media. At first, I used my website to drive traffic to my social media channels because I didn't want to use a third-party linking service. But then after a while, I wanted to start selling products. So for a period of time, I sold merch and plants and art. Squarespace Domains makes it easy to claim your name and your own custom URL name. So I was able to secure benjiplant.com, and I think having a nice, clean and simple website URL is very important for searchability. Squarespace also has a ton of beautifully designed website templates that are professionally designed. So even if you're not too great at designing yourself, you can use one of Squarespace's templates, and then you're gonna have a beautiful, beautiful website. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use offer code BenjiPlant for 10% off your first website or domain. For future videos, I feel like my content schedule, like my plan that I made, has been derailed because of the burst pipe situation, but we're rolling with the punches. I mean, it could be a lot worse. Like, it could be so much worse, you know? Like, this is, in the grand scheme of things, I suppose it's quite minor, but it does put a wrench in my plans for my videos. But I do want to, I think we want to pick out a paint color. I think we can pick a paint color for the living room and try different ones out. So that'll be fun. And then we also still need to get some basic, like, houseware things, maybe from IKEA or something. So yeah, I think future vlogs, like home decor vlogs, are coming up. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and also let me know, all of your thoughts and your suggestions in the comments. I'm very curious to hear what you think. And yeah, as long as you're being nice about it, any idea is a good idea. Okay, bye.